you.
Hi, okay, so I'm going to be talking about saying I love you to your family. It's like a really common topic that Asian Americans grew up with, about how like apparently it's really hard to say I love you to your mom, your father, or it's vice versa the other way, where your mom and dad just don't say I love you to you when you're growing up. So I'm going to provide like a little backstory about the immigration system. So it takes years for people to immigrate based on their birth country and their education level and social skills to America. And that means it's like not really hard. It's not really like easy to come to America. And you can't just come. You can't just come because you want to. So why should you go through this hardship? Well, it's because the United States was the epitome of opportunity, success, and happiness in the early 1900s. And people always talked about how they wanted to immigrate here because they want to search for like a better future, better lifestyle, not just for themselves, but also for their future generations and their families. And we have like millions of people immigrating here annually, and for reasons such as job prospect, fleeing persecution, relatives, or just lottery-based. And I'm pretty sure we all know why our parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents immigrated here. It's because of that reason. They wanted to search for a better future. And my grandparents did the same thing. Like they immigrated here from Hong Kong to America because they wanted to find a better career outlook for their sons and daughter. And it worked out really well. My father is like well off and with money, and sorry. But however, they like focused more on success and academics rather than intimacy and closeness when they were growing up. Like even though like those are like really important values about like being successful, being very hardworking, diligent, I'm not like degrading those values, but I'm trying to undermine how like intimacy was just like not present. So when I was growing up, I went to acting school, and there was this exercise we did. It was to say I love you to the person next to you. And I remember looking around and everyone was really confident, like they were really comfortable talking about how like they were trying to say I love you to the person next to you. And I didn't feel that way. I felt really nervous, like I didn't know how to handle it. And I wondered, how come I feel so nervous, or how come I can't handle this situation, even though it's just an exercise? And I know that like when you're growing up, you're exposed to like, oh, your parents love you and you love them back, like in books, shows, and even in early school years. So how come even though I was exposed to that, how come I wasn't like comfortable? So after the class, after the acting class, I started asking my peers, like people in my school, about how their relationship with their parents was like. And I guess I don't think I was as shocked, but they said the same thing. They said they weren't as close with their parents. They didn't say I love you, and the parents didn't say I love you back. And it made me realize that it's just not a personal issue anymore if I wasn't the only one experiencing this or feeling the same way. It's a public issue, which is something I learned in sociology class. Okay, so the stereotypes that we grew up with being an Asian American in the category about love is all re-emphasized. Like it's hard to say I love you, right? Or hard for the parents to say I love you. And it's behaviors like that where like we keep joking about it, it encourages that like stigma to go on and to like not have it resolved when it really shouldn't be that way. Sorry. I'm really sorry. Okay, so recently I was in a situation where my parents were like yelling at me, right? So they were like, "Oh, you don't listen to me. You hate me. Oh my gosh. Can you like go study or stop going outside so much," right? And my mom, she said, like, the words, "you hate me," instead of saying, "you don't love me." And I noticed how, like, even right now, remembering that, it tears me apart because she didn't even use the word love, even if it's like by itself or it's in a different context. She didn't say, "you don't love me," or just use that word. And in response to her accusation, I screamed, "I love you" to her, and there was a pause. And she stared at me. She didn't really say anything other than that, but she talked to my father as if nothing else happened and just stopped screaming at me. And right now, after that incident, my relationship with my mother and father has been a lot more loving lately compared to my experiences in my relationship with them before. And something I want to leave with you is that even though I know it seems really hard to say those exact words to your parents, I want you guys to tell your parents that you love them. Like, even though I know you grew up with this whole idea like, oh, Asian parents, it's so hard to say I love you. Like, it's really ubiquitous, right? But I really think that if we change and grow closer with our families, we can crush that myth. And yeah, thank you.